Rise and face the east.
Book of Mark, chapter 12 and verse 29. And YHWH answered him, the first of all the commandments is, Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one Lord. Shema YASHARAHLA, YHWH, AHLAHAYANAWA, YHWH, ACHAAD. Amen.
Amen. Shalom, shalom, shalom. Can I be heard? You can hear me, Lord?
Con, I can hear you.
All right. So we're not gonna take too much time. We got a few slides here to present to the family. Turn down noise. We're not gonna be here too long. I guess brothers always say that, and we end up being here for 2 hours. You know what I'm saying? But we're gonna get into these slides, and we're gonna investigate reasons why you should not celebrate Mardi Gras, right? Yes.
Hey, yo, don't. Noah.
Turn his
Noah
down.
down.
All right. So reasons why you should not celebrate Mardi Gras. We're gonna jump straight into it. All right. So the word Mardi Gras, right? The word Mardi Gras is a French word. It means literally means Fat Tuesday, right? You start getting into the etymology and the definition of the term. As a matter of fact, where you read that?
Mardi Gras, French, literally Fat Tuesday.
Mhm.
Festive day the close of the pre-Lenten season.
Mhm.
The French name Mardi Gras means Fat Tuesday from the custom of using all the fats in the home before Lent in preparation for fasting and abstinence.
So right, so all right, so the word is a French word, right? But we're in America, right? So for those of you all that aren't aware, Louisiana was colonized by 3 separate colonizers, right? You got the French, you got the Spanish, you got the British or the English, right? The French left more of a considerable impression of culture on Louisiana, right? And that derives why we have a French term in our modern day Louisiana vernacular, right?
Right.
Keep going, right? So there's a certain context to Mardi Gras, right? So the context of Mardi Gras is that it's one of the largest festivals in Louisiana, right? It's a festival that lasts and spans several days, several weeks. You know, people are preparing literally for Mardi Gras for, in some cases, all year, right? And in the course of the actual frame of Mardi Gras itself, in the span that it's actually taking place, a few days, we have several parties, parades, masquerade balls, excessive alcoholism, right, and all manner of concupiscence, like the scriptures say, right? Now, this is also a statewide festival. So in Louisiana, you have many, pretty much all of the schools in the south of Louisiana. After a certain point, when you get to the boot, all of the schools are actually closed for Mardi Gras, right? So it's regarded as a statewide holiday where school is closed. In the north, it's not closed. Schools aren't generally closed. In some places, they may be, but essentially, it is regarded as a holy day or a holiday to Louisiana. And that being said, like there's festivities and activities all throughout the state. So it's commonly known to take place in New Orleans, right? But it's not an exclusively New Orleans festivity. So most of your major cities today and all throughout the week, this upcoming week, there's gonna be parades, it's gonna be parties, people gonna be buying beads, people gonna be doing all this extra. Kids is gonna be wearing beads at school, right? And that's just a part of Louisiana culture as we know it today, right? So this festivity is so embedded into the Louisiana culture that it literally makes up 3% of the GDP of New Orleans. And what that means is the GDP is the gross domestic product. So what that means is when you calculate all of the services, products, and goods that are produced and sold in New Orleans, right? This one festivity makes up 3% of all of the GDP in the city of New Orleans. So what does that mean? That means we're talking about consumerism, right? Consumerism, and the state makes a hefty profit off of it. The city makes a hefty profit off of it. Furthermore, in 2023, Mardi Gras in New Orleans generated generated $14.3 million of tax revenue for the state of Louisiana. And that's just the city of New Orleans. So it doesn't talk about how much revenue that other cities brought in for the state. But the city of New Orleans alone gave the state of Louisiana $14.3 million of tax revenue just for this one festivity, right? Furthermore, the return on investment that the city of New Orleans gets, right? It is for every dollar that the city of New Orleans spends, they make $2.64, right? So this is a tremendously profitable festivity, right? Not only that, New Orleans gets all types of visitation and travelers and what is the word called? Tourists, all types of tourism from all around the world just for Mardi Gras, right? So when does Mardi Gras take place? So the context of Mardi Gras is, so all right, so you have Carnival, Mardi Gras, Lent, and Ash Wednesday. All of those holidays are surrounded by the context of Easter, right? Easter, when it's calculated, they calculate it according to when spring falls and things of that nature, and it's a certain equation that they have in place, but they work backwards. So they figure out when Easter is, then they establish when Carnival starts, then they establish when Mardi Gras starts, they establish when Lent starts and Ash Wednesday and so on, and as well as the other holidays that are smaller holidays that are in there, right? So this is also in the context of Roman Catholicism, right? These are holidays that you typically see Catholics celebrating. So, you know, depending on where you live in your state, you may see in a few days, next week, I think next Wednesday is Ash Wednesday. So you're going to see, you know, all manner of nations that practice Catholicism with a mark of ashes on their forehead, right? That commemorates Ash Wednesday, right? So let's talk furthermore about the relationship of Mardi Gras with Roman Catholicism, right? So Mardi Gras, it is the final day of Carnival season, right? So, and we'll talk more about Carnival, but Mardi Gras is also known as Fat Tuesday. That's literally what the term Mardi Gras means. We talked about that in the opening slide. It's also known as Shrove Tuesday, if I pronounced that correctly, right? And you have Ash Wednesday, that is the day that follows Fat Tuesday. So Ash Wednesday is the first day of Lent, right? Which is the day after Fat Tuesday. Now, why is it called Fat Tuesday? Well, the name speaks for itself, and when you get into the breakdown of it, it's kind of ironic, right? So the holiday's title, Fat Tuesday, is self-evident due to the high level of indulgence that is encouraged, and it's an entire culture built around this particular day, this festivity of indulging in all manner of foods, alcohol, and excess, right? Of course, alcohol within itself is okay, but when you see the context of where we're going with this, you'll understand why that is crucial, right? So Lent within itself, right? Lent is a period of fasting for 40 days, right? This fasting basically is, you know, according to them, according to the Catholics, Roman Catholics, they model this period of fasting after Christ's 40 days of fasting in the wilderness, right? This is what they hold to, right? If you will, Lord. Let's get into a little history. Read the title of this book.
God. The title of this book, The Carnival. What's it?
The Carnival, first of all, it's the Handbook of Carnival, containing Mardi Gras, its ancient and modern preservance, right? And it goes into a further breakdown of the cruise, and it's kind of a technical book as it relates to Mardi Gras, but it gets into a piece of history that we want to address here, right? I know this may be kind of small, so I'll keep going. As a matter of fact,
Yeah.
So yeah, you can just take it from this side right here.
Okay.
From the top.
Mardi Gras. The carnival, properly speaking, begins with the first of the new year, and the festivities commencing with the congratulations and friendly wishes appropriate to that time.
So keep in mind the context of Carnival is set at the first of the year, right? Keep going.
It says, increase in favor until they end in the wild world of the
Grotesque.
Salakia. And merry parades and shows of Mardi Gras, Fat Tuesday, so-called in France, the favorite child of the church, because it is followed by Ash Wednesday, ushering in the solemn season of Lent. And the Catholic Church, the day is known as Shrove Tuesday or Shrovetide. Because in the good old times of the church, her faithful children were warned on that day to make their shrit, confess their sins, and prepare to enter upon the season of fasting and prayer with proper spirit. After confession, they were accustomed to spend the remainder of the day in amusement, all kinds of which were tolerated by the church.
All kinds of which were tolerated by the Roman Catholic Church. Go ahead.
Provided, of course, these were within the bounds of reason. In olden times, or golden times, in Merry England, after making their confession, the people commenced their festivities with a dinner of which pancakes or fritters formed an important part. And hence, the day was vulgarly known as Pancake Tuesday, and the bells rang on that day as pancake bells.
So it's giving you a little context on how you get to the modern day context of Mardi Gras.
Right.
We start off at Pancake Tuesday, right? And it further evolves into Fat Tuesday. Pancake Tuesday, you're getting into fats and indulgences and things of that nature. Let's keep going. And then these areas highlighted in green, yellow, and purple are what I really want here.
The carnival is of heathen origin.
It is what?
The carnival is of heathen origin.
Come on.
And was generally accompanied by great excesses to celebrate the end of winter on the near approach of spring. Among the pagans, national feasts were held in honor of certain gods.
It was held in honor of what?
Of certain gods.
Okay, keep going.
It says among the Greeks and Romans.
So we're talking about the Europeans.
Right.
Come on.
Among the Greeks and Romans and the southern nations.
Bacchus.
Bacchus, the god of the grape or wine, was honored, hence the
Bacchanalia.
Bacchanalia, Pan or
Lupercalia.
I don't even know name.
Lupercus.
That's actually right. The god of herds and flocks, hence the Lupercalia. At these festivals, men and women becoming intoxicated in honor of the god, dressed in grotesque
manner. Yep.
Grotesque manner, many crowned with wreaths, ran about committing all kinds of excess, in a companion by others playing on different musical instruments and singing the wildest of songs.
So
that was wild.
Let's keep going, and I'll further elaborate.
It
was wild.
These festivities having taken root in the hearts of the people.
They did what?
It says, these festivities having taken root in the hearts of the people,
Come on.
were continued in a modified form even after the establishment of Christianity.
Even after the establishment of what?
Of Christianity.
Okay, keep going.
Among them, and although not celebrated in honor of heathen gods, they have descended to our day and are enjoyed with so much zest that they are looked toward to 4 months.
So, what you literally have here is, if that may have been a little bit wordy, I know we read several paragraphs, but what you literally, what this book in the public domain, by the way, I didn't write this, I didn't make this up, if you're wondering. This book is available in the public domain that you can find if you look for it. What this literally is breaking down, it says off the top in the golden area. I know y'all can't see where I'm pointing to, but off the top in the area highlighted in green, it says carnival is of heathen origin, right? Now let me just go back for a second, because I didn't make this crystal clear, and we may touch on it a little bit further. But carnival is well, okay. So Mardi Gras is the final day of carnival, right? Carnival is an entire season of festivities that take place over the span of weeks and weeks at a time, right? So Mardi Gras is just a small snapshot of carnival, right? As a matter of fact, if you go to New Orleans tonight, if you go to New Orleans tonight, you're gonna see a sum total of what goes on during carnival season, all throughout the Latin American countries, all across what's going on in the Caribbean, and obviously in other parts of Louisiana, right? Go ahead and bring that source out.
Gone. This is the Pagan Origins of Christian Holidays by Alicia J. Israel. All right. This is chapter 4, I believe. Carnival, farewell to flesh. Carnival is the time before the Lenten season. It is a popular festival celebrated largely in Catholic countries. The origin of the name carnival is disputed by scholars. It is possible that the word carnival comes from 2 Latin words, carne and veil. Carne means flesh and veil means farewell. This would signify the last day.
No, hold on right there. I know it's probably more on it, but hold on real quick. Let me just say this really quick. So it started out saying that Carnival is celebrated in Roman Catholic countries, right? This is America, though, right?
Right.
This is a land where Protestantism is the common religious practice. It is the dominant religious practice. You have several Catholics here, but Protestantism is the common practice. But in Louisiana, especially South Louisiana, there's a great dominance of Roman Catholicism, right? Furthermore, I mentioned previously, Louisiana was initially colonized by 3 different nations: the French, the Spanish, and the English, right? The French and the Spanish are indeed Roman Catholic countries, right? So everywhere that the French and the Spanish went to colonize, they planted or imposed their culture upon the people that they colonized, right? So if you go to Haiti, right, you will see where they're practicing, voodoo, right? But it's also mixed with Roman Catholicism. If you go to Colombia, or you go to Brazil especially, right, you will see black people or brown people, especially Hispanics, right? You will see them practicing a form of Catholicism, right? Because the Spanish conquistadors, right, imposed their religion upon the people in whom they colonized and captured, right? So I wanted to iron that out and make that crystal clear, right? Well, it was another point that you said that I wanted to is there nothing else on that?
It goes into more prepared on the back sheet. showing also the sexual practice of third
But you read something that I wanted to elaborate on a little bit more. Let me see.
No problem. All right.
Yeah.
Like this.
Let
me go into the card, babe.
You bring that out. The carne.
The carne?
Yep.
It says, it is possible that the word carnival comes from two Latin words, carne and veil.
Yep.
Carne means flesh, and veil means farewell.
So the gist of what they're trying to accomplish, right? During carnival season, remember, it is a build-up to get you to Easter, right? So carnival, carne meaning flesh, this is what you said, right?
Yes, carne meaning flesh, yep.
Veil meaning
farewell,
right? So it is supposed to be a putting away of the flesh, right?
Supposed to become a new creature.
You're supposed to become a new creature and have your mind renewed, right?
Right.
But if we were to get on a flight and go to New Orleans right now, we're not going to see nobody with a renewed mind in the French Quarter.
Right.
We're not going to see nobody that is trying to practice or seemingly trying to prepare themselves for the coming of the day of Christ, right? But the idea there with the logic that they try to sell or that they try to present is that, well, if I get it all out now, right? If I feed my flesh now, when Lent comes, because remember Lent is the 40-day period of fasting. When Lent comes, it'll be easier on me because I've already indulged my flesh, right? And so that is the logic. Indulge now, fast later.
Speak of Lord.
It's kind of like, if you ever seen that movie, Coming to America, where Prince Hakeem, his dad was like, yeah, my son went out there to sow his royal oats. God, that's a fact. And that's what you got going on right now.
Right.
In New Orleans and in other Hispanic countries, right? People are sowing their royal oats, right? And they're conducting all manner of concupiscence, right? And there's more on this book. Like I said, I think it's a good reference to go through, but we're gonna keep going and pin it there for now. I got a few video sources that I want you all to take a look at as well.
I'm Kenny Rubenstein. Well, I'm definitely a New Orleans boy, born and bred, and it was not easy living out of this town. It's just very unique. I love this town. I'm very proud of my city. I think that it is the most unique city in this country. It is the closest to European city that you can get anywhere.
Closest to a European city.
I mean, you walk through the streets of the French Quarter, and if you've been there, you can imagine just about any European city, that you're walking through.
They bring luck. You try to catch as many necklaces as you can in the three colors of the carnival. The tradition started in the late 19th century. Purple for justice, green for faith, and gold for power.
So wait a minute. I just can't let that play and not address that. Purple for justice, green for faith, and gold for power. Right? So you have some, Lord?
Nah, go ahead.
Oh, come. So purple, obviously, we're in the most powerful, well, you could debate it, but we'll just say, for argument's sake, we'll say this is the most powerful country in the world, right? America, right? This is the power that they're projecting, right? And I think they said green for justice, green for justice. This is obviously the most unjust place, right? The daughter of Babylon,
right?
It is no just bone in this place's body. Green should stand for injustice, right? And obviously gold is for the power,
right?
I think I said that already. The power that it produces, right? You had someone on that? No. Is the volume okay, Lord?
Con, you good?
Come.
There you go. Come here. Happy Mardi Gras. Can you dance?
All manner of concupiscence, even with the children.
The Croix du Vieux parade is a neighborhood affair. Designed for the area's narrow streets, the floats are relatively small. It is famous for being very close to the original spirit of Carnival.
Spirit of Carnival.
Inherited from the Roman Saturnalia.
A Roman Saturnalia. Yep.
I think outside people don't have any concept of what Carnival is. I mean, it's a chance just to have fun, just to, do what you want to do, costuming on Mardi Gras Day, dress as anything you want, and have a good time. So it is strange, and there are strange things you'll see, but having grown up here and been around it, it's hard to be surprised.
So it's a few things that I want you all to catch that was just said in this clip, right? One, obviously, he said that New Orleans is the closest thing to a European city that you'll get in America, right? My brother just said that there's a place in New Orleans called the French Quarter, right? So that's one. Number two is that he said, the narrator said that, basically that New Orleans was likened unto the original festival of Saturnalia, right? Now, we talked about initially how that the deity, y'all could. Yeah, so we talked about the original. We talked about how the Greek god or Roman god Bacchus, right? How this festival dealt with it dealt with bacchanalia and things of that nature, right? So to go back, the narrator said that the festival was related to Saturnalia, right? Now we know that Saturnalia is where you get your modern day Christmas and New Year's Eve celebrations from, right? So if you recall, Carnival is one of the things that we brought out originally. We said that Carnival, right, takes place around the first of the year, right? So you have Saturnalia, right, Christmas and New Year's, but then you have Carnival that is a continuation thereof, right? So when you get into the pantheon of how their mythology works, Saturnalia was a feast unto the god Saturn, right? Bacchus is supposed to be the son of Saturn, right? So you have Saturnalia, you have Bacchanalia, right? When you put the alia on the end, we just talk about the festival, right? So you have the celebration of Saturn and the celebration of Bacchus, right? This is what we're dealing with when we're talking about Mardi Gras. Another point he said was that most people have no idea what the spirit of Carnival is really about. Right? They just want to have fun.
Right.
And that's really unfortunate, right? Because it's a sad day when the dude was dancing. He was kind of dancing in a way that is not appropriate to be dancing up on children.
Right.
He was dancing and encouraging the kids to dance with him. You know what I'm saying?
Green for faith and gold for power.
Like he said, everyone just wants to have fun.
Happy Mardi Gras.
Right?
Can you
But
dance?
fun at what expense?
You're welcome.
We want to have fun at the expense of unrighteousness. We want to have fun at the expense of idolatry. We want to have fun at the expense of indulging in all manner of wickedness. Right? That's not what the scriptures say. What precepts you got, Lord?
I want to go into the book of Galatians chapter 5, and I'm going to start at verse 17 really quick, right?
Mm-hmm.
It says, for the flesh lusteth against the spirit.
It does what?
The flesh lusteth against the spirit.
Come on.
And the spirit against the flesh.
Mm-hmm.
And these are the contrary, the one to the other.
Yes, sir.
So that ye cannot do the things that ye would. But if ye, go ahead.
Go ahead.
It says, but if ye be led of the spirit, you are not under the law. Now this is what I want to get right here. And I want to go back up to 16.
Mm-hmm.
It says, now the works of the flesh are manifest, which are these.
Mm-hmm.
Watch this. Adultery,
Mm-hmm.
fornication,
Mm-hmm.
uncleanness, lasciviousness.
Lasciviousness.
Mm-hmm. And when you go into that word lasciviousness, It goes right into lust, spiritual fornication, things of that nature, right?
Yeah.
And then you go up to verse 16. It says, "This I say then, walk in the spirit."
Walk what?
Walk in the spirit.
No, walk on Bourbon Street.
Walk in the spirit.
No, walk in the first quarter.
Walk in the spirit.
Go ahead.
And ye shall not fulfill the lust of the flesh.
Okay.
What these people are doing.
That's a fact.
Luke 12 and 48.
Yeah, I got some too.
Come on, Lord. Bring it out.
Go ahead, Yabayan.
Oh, come. It's the book of Luke, chapter 12 and verse 48. "But he that knew not and did commit things worthy of stripes shall be beaten with few stripes."
So, go ahead. Now, break it down. Come on, man. Salaki. Read it one more time.
Good. "But he that knew not and did commit things worthy of stripes shall be beaten with few stripes."
So what the parable is that he that didn't know that he was doing wicked is going to be punished.
Right.
Please believe you're going to be punished, right? But you'll be beaten with fewer stripes. It won't be as severe. Keep going.
"For unto whomsoever much is given, of him shall be much required.
Come on.
And to whom men have committed much, of him they will ask the more."
Yep.
So that goes into the aspect of saying that ignorance does not absolve you from your responsibility.
Right.
Yeah.
And so your consequences have actions, whether you understand that or not.
Come on. Ignorance is no excuse, and ignorance is no excuse to violate the law.
Correct.
Whether you're talking about the law of America, whether you're talking about the law of France, the law of Spain, or the law of the Lord, ignorance is no excuse of violating the law. Period. What you got, Lord?
Give me 1 Corinthians chapter 10 and verse 20.
Come on, Lord. This is the book of 1 Corinthians chapter 10 and verse 20. It says, "Do we provoke the Lord to jealousy? Are we stronger than he?"
No. 1 Corinthians chapter 10 and verse 20.
Oh, it's like it, Lord. "But I say that the things which the Gentiles sacrifice, they sacrifice to devils, and not to God. And I will not that ye should have fellowship with devils."
Keep reading.
It says, "Ye cannot drink the cup of the Lord and the cup of devils. Ye cannot be partakers of the Lord's table and of the table of devils."
So we got to understand that we can't follow these type of customs. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because obviously these customs are Edomite customs or Greek customs. Everything that they do, they idolize after these damn gods that they worship. You get what I'm saying? So if we want to be at the Lord's table, we cannot be partakers in these type of events. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's madness, it's crazy. So, you know,
that's a big fact out of one.
Big
fact. Come on, let's keep going. I got another one for you. Y'all probably never even heard this term before.
I am putting on drag king makeup.
Drag king makeup.
It's like creating different shades on my, just like stronger like angles, like where a man's face would be more like angular. And this is my but men are usually like more angular on their face and their like jawlines are angular, so I'm trying to darken that up. I'm gonna do a fake Adam's apple here.
A fake Adam's apple, come on. And she done painted the mustache on, put a fake Adam's apple in to present herself as a man.
It just doesn't look.
All in the spirit of fun.
When you're a member of one of these gangs, ready and willing to let go, Carnival is the perfect time to party, while reconnecting with this cultural mix that was the core of the original Carnival.
So the narrator just said, when you're ready to let go and join one of these gangs, so the term gang is not like we think of in the modern day context, but it's really dealing with the aspect of crews and organized individuals who are doing Mardi Gras activities, right? So when basically he's saying when you want to become a part of a Mardi Gras crew or engage in a formal Mardi Gras activity, it is the perfect time to let yourself go, right? The perfect time to let yourself go and party and be who you want to be. Let me just, I want him to say it exactly how he said that.
This cultural mix, that was the core of the original carnival. Mix, that was the perfect time to party. While reconnecting with this cultural mix, that was the core of the original carnival.
So the narrator's even telling you that when you're participating in this Mardi Gras activity season, you're reconnecting with the original spirit of carnival.
Right.
And what shall we say then? And we just discussed in a book, and as well as it was revealed in this source as well, how it's originally tied to Bacchus and Saturnalia. Right? You had something?
I like scripture on it too.
Bring it out.
See, so Israelite groups not use this in certain type of ways, but this how we're going to use it in the correct way, right? Deuteronomy 22 verse 5 says, "The woman shall not wear that which pertaineth unto a man."
Read it again.
The woman shall not wear that which pertaineth unto a man.
Come.
Neither shall a man put on a woman's garment. But all that do so are an abomination unto the Lord thy God.
They are a what?
An abomination unto the Lord thy God.
An abomination, utterly detestable to the Most High God.
Right.
Right. So a detail to point out is that we talked about the festival of Saturnalia, right? And one of the features of Saturnalia is that social norms were suspended, right? Meaning the normal course of actions and activities was no more. So in the context of when they were keeping Saturnalia in Rome, right? So slave masters were not, allegedly, harsh and austere with their slaves. The slaves were allowed to participate in these activities, and it wasn't the normal course of relationship dynamics, right? So it's the same thing. Like if you saw in the previous video, it was a woman, an Edomite woman with a sexual toy on her forehead,
Right.
Right? Doing things that are not of the social norm, right? Now, even our social norms in America are crazy, right? They're pretty wild.
Right.
But in this carnival season, right? This carnival spirit, right? The norms are even further left, right? Yeah, okay. Let's keep going, man. This is my final clip for you.
For one weekend and 2 public holidays, most everyone in New Orleans has staked out a spot along the route of the major parades. Mardi Gras has taken over the
Now let me
entire
just say this too really quick. So this Mardi Gras is branded as a family event. Right? A family event. Small children, older children, grown people, old people. Mardi Gras is branded as being okay for everybody. Now, I will say that it is commonly known that, you know, in the nighttime, we were talking about this when we started the class, at night is when most of the more wickedness comes out and is on display, right? But even in the daytime, right? If you ever attend a Mardi Gras parade, which I pray any of you watching this class do not, if you attend a Mardi Gras parade or ever have attended a Mardi Gras parade, you will see women flashing the men on the floats, right? Meaning showing their breasts, right? Hollering, "Throw me something, mister," right? Asking for beads or necklaces, right? Which is just paraphernalia of Mardi Gras. They hold no true value. You can't do anything with it after you take it home, but hang it up and perhaps throw it in the trash, right? I saw another part of this documentary, right, that I didn't include here. They were talking about how at one point the city of New Orleans was cleaning out their gutters downtown, and they were cleaning out their gutters downtown, and they pulled out tons, literally, the metric unit. I'm not saying this in hyperbole, like it's a lot of them. They were literally pulling out tons, thousands and thousands of pounds of bees out of the gutter. That's literally congesting the sewerage system, right? So the beads and all types of paraphernalia. This is placed on a premium value during the season, right? Just to be in the spirit of carnival.
And you know, the other thing about it is that it's unfortunate that this is the end version because it starts even in the schools for the kids.
That's a fact.
And they parade around the classrooms, and they do it for all of the events, Even more so, what's sickening about it is that they pin this to the Black people.
Yes.
Because they put it in the quote unquote Black History Month time frame. So they want to deem the act of this mentally derived people and make it a holiday and pin it to, hey, no, this was the Black people's idea, or the Hispanic people's idea, or the Indian people's idea. That's what they want to do during the time that we are supposed to be technically reverencing those who have stood up for rights. They pin or undermine the sexual content and the historicity of this hedonistic design to us.
Come on, Lord. That's a fact. That's a fact. And there's more to be said on this Black history, on this Black history piece too. There's more to be said on that. We're gonna get into it. And we actually we're not far from being finished.
Pre-Katrina New Orleans had a majority of African Americans. It has since become predominantly white.
It has become predominantly white.
Society is in the streets. But behind these friendly, cheerful images is a much less harmonious story. Watching these riders, it's impossible to forget that after the Ku Klux Klan was banned, Carnival became the only time people were allowed to wear masks.
Yep. So they use this.
For
the white man
public holidays,
uses Carnival
everyone in New Orleans
as an opportunity to remind you that I'm still here. I'm still here, and I got my mask on, right? Not only do I got my mask on, but this is a Ku Klux Klan mask and regalia, right? Demonstrating the high level racism that we're dealing with here, right? A few other notable things to bring out concerning Mardi Gras, right? So all four of these pieces, they deserve their own breakdown in their own class, right? But this class is not designed to be exhaustive or to just bring out all the information that could possibly be brought out from Mardi Gras. It's really just intended to increase your awareness of the idolatry and the concupiscence that we're dealing with when we talk about Mardi Gras, right? So I don't know if you ever heard of the Mardi Gras Indians, right? The Mardi Gras Indians, the story is tremendous. The Mardi Gras Indians are a group of so-called African Americans, Black people, right, who dress up in commemoration of Indians, the indigenous people of America, quote unquote, right? They dress up as Indians. They literally spend all year long preparing outfits and uniforms that are in commemoration thereof, these Indians, right? And the relevance of it is that during slavery, right? During slavery, sometimes there would be runaways, and they was really in the spirit and didn't know it. They found their brethren. They ran away, found the native Indians, and the natives would take them in, and they would go and live amongst the natives, right? And of course, obviously, with that, there came some mixing and things of that nature. But the Mardi Gras Indians pay homage to our Native American brothers and sisters during this season as well, right? I should have had a picture in here to demonstrate this.
That source can be found in that book titled New Orleans, Creole New Orleans, where the Indians are housing runaway enslaved Africans. So that's in that book. It's literally in there.
Another point on the Mardi Gras Indians is that during the former days of the Black Codes in Louisiana, there was a thing called the New York Codes, which is the French word for black, right? The Black Codes, Jim Crow, slavery, things of that nature. Black people actually were not allowed to participate in Mardi Gras, right? So they literally had to have their own separate festivities, right? Which obviously they shouldn't have been doing it anyway. But they went and participated in their own, they had their own festivities just for them, right? Which goes back to the point of the enshrined racism in America. Racism literally enshrined in the culture, down to the bone, right? The point of syncretism, right? So if you saw my thumbnail when we started, right? You see an individual that has a mask on, right? A mask of a mask, right? And is given Santeria, is given voodoo, right? So what you literally have is you have remember, Mardi Gras is a Catholic holiday, right? But you have these colonizers went and took captive individuals who already was practicing a certain form of religion. Our people, right? They were practicing a certain form of idolatry, which is a whole separate thing, but they were practicing voodoo. They were practicing Santeria and things of that nature, right? And so what ends up happening is that during the time of Mardi Gras and Carnival, you see that these elements are bleeding out over and overflowing in the culture of Mardi Gras, right? So like the culture of New Orleans itself and America at large for that matter, you see a melting pot of things going on during Mardi Gras. You see sexual deviancy, you see idolatry, obviously, you see in a whole nother breath, you see homage being paid to the Native Americans, right? It's really a lot going on here, right? You have to rightly divide this for that. Overall, there's no righteousness in this so-called holiday, in this so-called holiday. It's all wicked, right? There's nothing in it that's giving praise, honor, and glory to the Most High. When you decide that you want to indulge as much as you possibly can before you fast, right? And we're not just talking about just eating as much food as I can eat. We're talking about drinking as much alcohol as I can drink, doing as much drugs as I can do, eating as much shrimp, pork, crab, and lobster as I can eat. Because remember, we're talking about New Orleans, so they're gonna go crazy on the seafood, right? We're talking about a total indulgence before the giving over of yourself into a fast, quote unquote, right?
Yep. Give me that word, hedonistic.
Come.
Because I think that's exactly what you're saying.
That's exactly what it is. That's exactly what it is. It's hedonism at its highest.
Hedonistic means
Heathen with a D. H-E-A-D.
oh, heathen.
Yeah.
God. Hedonistic means to live in a way that prioritizes pleasure and enjoyment.
That prioritizes what?
Pleasure and enjoyment.
Pleasure and enjoyment. Keep going.
It can also refer to a philosophy that values pleasure above all else.
Above all else. So
your God is lust.
Say it one more time.
I said, so your God is lust.
We're talking about concupiscence. That's literally what the word concupiscence means. Now lust doesn't have to necessarily be negative. It can be positive. You can want things that are good and uplifting, right? But that's not the context of what we're talking about tonight. We're talking about the context of negative sexual lust, or even lust after things that destroy your body, right? So they're in the spirit of hedonism, right? Before their alleged period of fasting and giving themselves to the Lord is what they say they're doing, right? You also have to deal with carnival, which I didn't want to spend a whole lot of time digging into carnival, but I had to deal with it because you have to understand a certain measure of carnival to get Mardi Gras, being that Mardi Gras is the last day of carnival, right? So carnival deserves its own breakdown, and getting into the culture of that, getting into the depths of the idolatry and things of that nature with that, and our Hispanic brothers and sisters, when they do carnival, you may have thought you saw something in these clips that I just showed you of what goes on in New Orleans. And to be honest with you, those clips don't show as crazy as they actually go. But our Hispanic brothers and sisters during carnival, it's on a whole nother level of idolatry, lust, sexual deviancy. It's on a whole nother level, right?
Suffice it to say that Mardi Gras is like pictures of like the human body in the sexual desire form. Carnival is actual like corn hook.
Right. That's a fact. Mardi Gras is still photos. Carnival is 4K pornography on a high level. That's tough, right? And it's not. I don't want to misconstrue it. It's not just. That's not only what's going on during carnival, but that is a large element of it, right? And lastly, we kind of talked about Roman Catholicism, but Roman Catholicism really deserves its own breakdown, because there's a lot of idolatry that goes on into that. And going into the point of syncretism, one of the things that I found when I was digging into this topic is that, obviously we talked a lot about Bacchus and Saturnalia, but remember the context of the Roman Catholic Church is the Roman Empire, right? The Roman Catholic Church is just the Roman Empire in its final form, right? But during the Roman Empire, you obviously had these celebrations and the Romans worshipped many gods, right? And so it was the tactics of the Roman Catholic Church not to totally chop off the culture of Rome, right? But to blend it in with Christianity, quote unquote, right? And what you end up having is your modern day Roman Catholic Church. That's what you end up having. That's your final product, right? After you blend up Saturnalia, Bacchus. That's why they like to so-called commemorate the birth of Jesus Christ on December 25th, right? Because that is getting into when Saturnalia is celebrated, right? The Saturnalia is getting into the sun, the family of Saturn and Bacchus and so on and so on. We can also start talking about the Babylonian gods and deities and things of that nature. It's a full-blown breakdown that has to be done on that, right? But I just wanted to acknowledge that these other points as well, that it's a lot more to be said on these things. This class is not intended to really dig deep into those, if you will, right? When y'all have anything?
I was just going to add that you can even see more of that syncretism now or at least a little clearer, because even today, from the Roman Catholic perspective, they're doing more and more to blend the cultural, secular living into traditional practices.
That's a fact.
So
that's a fact.
That's something to just build on that.
On that point, you have the popes formally endorsing the LGBTQIA community. Right? Did I say the last part right? Probably, maybe.
Maybe. They might ask more.
You know what I'm saying? They're formally endorsing that community, and you know the Pope now. When you get into the understanding of who the Pope is supposed to be, the Pope is supposed to be the vicar or the replacement of Christ on earth. As Christ, they regard the Pope as, since Christ is not here, I will stand in the void for you, and leading of the people, if you will, right? So the so-called representative of Jesus Christ, or the so-called representative of Caesar Borgia, right, actually is greenlighting and stamping sexual deviancy, right, and saying that it's something that should be accepted and okay. Right? Do you have anything I don't want to go on?
No, I'm good.
All right, Con. So now that is the history and the details of Mardi Gras that I wanted to bring out. Now we're gonna get into some scriptures, right? We're not gonna go this whole lesson and not bring up, right? Let's and I don't have a 100-round drum clip of precepts, but I got a few. Someone pull, if you could, Exodus chapter 20 and verse 3.
Book of Exodus chapter 20 and verse 3.
Come on.
Thou shalt have no other gods before me.
I'll have a few gods.
Thou shalt have no other gods before me.
Just two gods.
Thou shalt have no other gods before me.
The Most High said, you shall have no other gods before me, or before the face of the Most High. Right? The essence of Carnival, you can't talk about Carnival or Mardi Gras in context without talking about Bacchus, without talking about, I think it's pronounced Dionysus, right? You talk about Dionysus and Bacchus, you're talking about the same deity but different cultures, right? You can't talk about it without talking about idolatry, right? Give me Matthew chapter 15 and verse 6.
Book of Matthew chapter 15 and verse 6. And honor not his father or his mother, he shall be free. Thus have ye made the commandment of God none effect by your tradition.
So they've made the commandment of the Most High of none effect with this tradition, because this is a yearly festival. Right. This is a yearly festival brought to you and sponsored by the Roman Catholic Church. Right? The Roman Catholic Church is supposed to stand on the scriptures. Supposed to. Right? But they have made the commandments of God of no effect through their tradition, through the tradition of their European fathers, right? Through the tradition of their idolatry, right? Keep reading.
It says, but ye say, whosoever shall say to his father or his mother, it is a gift, by whatsoever thou mightest be profited by me.
Hold on, read it. Go to verse 7.
7. Salakia, ye hypocrites, well did Isaiah prophesy you saying.
So obviously this scripture has a context where Christ is teaching to the scribes and Pharisees and the Jews and things of that nature, right? But it's appropriate, right? The Roman Catholic Church, they're hypocrites, right? They're hypocrites because you want to start out your preparation for Resurrection Sunday, as they call it, right? By doing high-level indulgence. That's how you want to start your preparation, right? So that's hypocritical, right? And furthermore, Isaiah prophesied. What did Isaiah say in verse 8?
It says, this people draw nigh unto me with their mouth and honoreth me with their lips.
So Isaiah said that these people are trying to honor Christ and honor the Most High God with their mouth, right? And they're trying to prophesy with their lips, right? They're saying that I'm preparing my body to honor the resurrection of Christ, right? But what does he say? Continuing on in verse 8.
It says, but their heart is far from me.
But their heart is far from them. But it's far from Christ. Because they don't even, if you go to a Catholic and ask them why they're celebrating Mardi Gras, give me book, chapter, and verse, they're going to be confounded.
Right.
They're going to be confounded. Right? Keep reading, verse 9.
Verse 9 says, but in vain they do worship me.
Their worship, their fasting is in vain. Keep going.
Teaching for doctrines the commandments of men.
Louisiana, the state of Louisiana has deemed this holiday as a state holiday.
Right.
Where employees are let off work, where children are out of school, yet they still manage to figure out a way to make it one of the most profitable holidays in the state, right? In vain, they worship Christ, right? But they're really worshiping Bacchus, right? In vain, they worship Christ, teaching for doctrines the commandments of men. Right. Verse 19.
Matthew 15:19.
Yep.
Gone. This is the book of Matthew 15:19. For out of their heart proceed evil thoughts, murders, adulteries, fornications, thefts, false witness, blasphemies.
Out of their heart comes evil, right?
Right.
The woman told you in the clip that she's dressing as a drag king. She painted on a mustache. She put on a fake Adam's apple, and I didn't even, this part was so wild, I didn't even want to include it. She stuffed her pants to even show that she had a rod.
That's crazy.
Right? So this is proceeding of evil. This is in the spirit of carnival. It's really what we're dealing with, right? Let's get Colossians chapter 3 and verse 5.
Book of Colossians chapter 3 and 5. Mortify therefore your members which are upon the earth.
So when you mortify something, you're putting it away.
Right.
You're doing what the actual title, what the actual Latin etymology of the word carnival actually is.
Right.
What is it? It's hiding of the flesh, something like that.
It says flesh farewell.
Flesh farewell. You're literally saying farewell to the flesh when you're mortifying your members, right? Keep going.
Right. It says, mortify therefore your members which are upon the earth. Fornication, uncleanness,
inordinate affection.
So I get even concubines and covetousness.
Come on, this brother's Ephraim. What's going on? Shibboleth. That's a fact. Look, so it says, I'll help you out, Lord. It says, good. Colossians 3 and verse 5, mortify therefore your members, which are upon the earth, fornication, uncleanness, inordinate affection, evil concupiscence. Salaki, I'm acting like you. Evil concupiscence and covetousness, which is idolatry. Right? So the whole spirit of Mardi Gras and Carnival is in the spirit of fornication. It's in the spirit of uncleanness.
Right.
It's in the spirit of inordinate affection. It's in the spirit of evil concupiscence. It's in the spirit of covetousness. The woman is coveting to be a man.
Right.
Painting a damn mustache on herself, right? And pretending that she has male reproductive organs.
Right.
I don't understand that. Right? Give me Romans chapter 12 and verse number 1.
Book of Romans chapter 12 and verse 1. I beseech ye therefore, brethren.
Paul said, I'm begging you. Keep going.
By the mercies of God, that ye present your bodies a living sacrifice.
Present therefore your bodies as a living sacrifice, which is really what you're doing when you're doing a fast unto the Most High. You're presenting yourself as a living sacrifice, right? Because you're mortifying your members, right? You're quenching your body. Keep going.
Holy, acceptable unto God, which is your reasonable service.
So you're supposed to be living as holy, right? Holy and acceptable unto the Most High, which is a reasonable service. There's nothing extraordinary about that,
right?
as much as the Most High has done for us, we should have been destroyed off the map a long time ago. Right? As much idolatry as we went into, we should not even be a people no more.
Right.
The nation of Israel should be gone, should not even be in remembrance. Furthermore, we've been scattered into the four corners of the earth. Right? Due to our idolatry. Right? Keep reading, Lord.
God, it says, and be not conformed to this world.
Do what?
Be not conformed to this world.
Keep reading.
But be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind.
See, us in Louisiana, we've been soaked, we've been saturated in when you buy a bottle of water and they want to be exotic, they say this water has been infused with cucumbers, right? We've been infused with the conformity, we've been infused with the culture of this world system, right? But Paul has said, what did Paul say? Paul says that you should not be conformed to this world, but you should what?
It says, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind.
You should be transformed. It's not too late to come out of that spirit of carnival. You can come out of that spirit and repent through being transformed by the renewing of your mind. Right? Keep reading.
That ye may prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of God.
When you do that, you're proving it. You're proving that you are a child of the Most High. Black man, woman, Hispanic man, woman, Native man, woman. Prove it by coming out of the spirit of carnival and coming to the spirit of the Most High God. Right? Give me James chapter 1 and verse 27.
Book of James chapter 1 and verse 27.
Pure religion. What is it?
Pure religion.
No, it's defiled religion.
Pure religion.
Keep going.
And undefiled before God and the Father is this.
What is it?
To visit the fatherless.
To visit the fatherless.
And widows in their affliction.
And their affliction. This is in the law too. Come on.
And to keep himself unspotted from the world.
So pure religion is to visit the fatherless and the widow, right? And also, furthermore, to keep yourself unspotted from the world. So if you want to practice a religion, you want to practice Roman Catholicism, how about you practice the Bible? Practice the Bible and do what the Bible says and be unspotted from the world and the things of this world, right? Be unspotted from making the commandments of God of no effect by honoring your own tradition, thus saith Christ, right? Bring it out, Lord.
Sirach, chapter 15, verse 20.
Bring it out.
He hath commanded no man to do wicked.
He has what?
He has commanded no man to do wicked.
Come on.
Neither hath he given any man license to sin.
The Most High ain't gave no man a commandment to be wicked, but also have not given no man a license to be sinful.
No, I will get it out on this day right here.
No. We gonna take this whole first quarter of the year, and we're gonna just flush our bodies out of all of the sinfulness, all of the desires of our heart. Right? That's what we're gonna do, because God said it, because the Pope said it's okay. Right? You had anything I don't want to go about?
Let me get Colossians chapter 2, verse 8, just going into something real quick.
But Colossians chapter 2 and verse 8. Beware lest any man spoil you through philosophy and vain deceit.
So that philosophy is basically the traditions, the pagan worship. You know what I'm saying? Keep reading.
It says, beware lest any man spoil you through philosophy and vain deceit, after the tradition of men, after the rudiments of the world, and not after Christ.
Just playing upon tables, we just gotta be aware of what we following, and knowing that the traditions that these so-called other nations follow, is leading us to destruction, and it's not of the Most High, you know what I'm saying? So we just gotta stay on the right path and know that, hey, you know, everything that these pagans worship is a damn devil. You know what I'm saying? So So beware of it. You know.
Yeah, you gotta be aware. You gotta have your head on a swivel, and you can't just accept culture just because it's made a holiday.
Yeah.
You can't accept just because the state government said, oh, we're gonna be off work this day and we're gonna have a parade for it. You know, you can't just say, all right, cool. You know what I'm saying? If you're a state employee and you're off, you ain't gotta go to the parade. Go home.
Yeah.
Go home and open up your scriptures.
Yeah, and
right?
another thing is we just follow what these other nations do and don't even do our own research and figure out where does it stem from, where did it start from? You understand?
Yep.
We just follow it just because somebody handed it to us. You know what I mean? But we gotta really break this thing down and really prove all things and figure out where does this history come from, and then we can understand why we shouldn't celebrate it. But you know. Our downfall is not researching and educating ourselves on the history of it. You know what I mean? So
that's a fact. We follow as sheep being led into the slaughter.
And to Gabar's Malak point, that's because nowadays we're not with people who have the same mind and on one accord with each other. The book of Sirach says it like this in Sirach 37:12. But be continually with a godly man whom thou knowest to keep the commandments of the Lord, whose mind is according to thy mind, and will sorrow with thee if thou shalt miscarry. So you got to be with somebody that y'all on the same wavelength as far as learning this word, like you say, going into the histories, getting a good understanding and trying to present yourself, as the other one has said, as pure and as a sacrifice before the Lord, unblemished. So
that's a fact. You got more precepts, Lord?
Nah, I'm just going with the spirit.
This is the last one that I have on. Give me 1 Corinthians chapter 6, verse 9.
Book of 1 Corinthians chapter 6 and verse 9. It says, know ye not that the unrighteous shall not inherit the kingdom of God.
So Paul's saying, did you know this? Did you know that the unrighteous is not going to inherit the kingdom of God? Keep going.
Be not deceived.
Don't get twisted. Keep going.
Neither fornicators, nor idolaters, nor adulterers, nor effeminate, nor abusers of themselves with mankind.
So we saw all of those things in the few scriptures. We saw fornicators. We saw idolaters. We saw adulterers. Right. We saw effeminate. You know, you probably didn't see. It was a few of those walking through there. A few lady boys. You know what I'm saying? Walking through there.
Lady boy.
You know what I'm saying? And we saw abusers of themselves, of mankind. Right. Keep going.
It says, nor thieves, nor covetous, nor drunkards, nor revilers, nor extortioners shall inherit the kingdom of God.
This is all in the spirit of Carnival,
right?
All these, this whole list is in the spirit of Carnival. But you know what's funny? Paul is writing to an audience who was under Roman control, right? He's writing to an audience who's under Roman captivity, if you will, right? And are participating in the cultures of Rome. Just like they were doing a version, obviously they were doing a version of Carnival then in that day, right? They just didn't call it Carnival. They called it Saturnalia. They called it Bacchanalian. They called it Lupercalia, right? Lupercalia, we didn't even discuss that. Lupercalia is getting into Valentine's Day. Lupercalia is getting into Valentine's Day. And that's a whole nother breakdown. That's a whole separate class.
Right.
Yeah. Right? Give me verse 11 finally.
Verse 11 says, and such were some of you.
Such were some of me. I've celebrated Mardi Gras many years. Right? I've spent birthdays in New Orleans turning up for Mardi Gras, drunk in the streets. Participating in fornication, all manner of wickedness, right? Keep going.
It says, but ye are washed, but ye are sanctified, but ye are justified in the name of the Lord YHWH.
But all praises to the Most High for YHWH, right? It allows you and allows me to repent, to turn away from that behavior and to turn toward the Most High, right? Keep going.
And by the Spirit of our AHLAHAYANAWA.
All praises to the Most High. So Paul is saying, though you were once in this spirit, you was once in the spirit of Carnival and Mardi Gras, right? You can come out of that. You can come out of that spirit and you can turn toward righteousness. You can do that. Bring it out, Lord.
Let me get Revelation chapter 18, verse 4.
Book of Revelation, chapter 18 and verse 4. And I heard another voice from heaven saying, come out of her, my people.
Like the brother was just saying, you got to come out of that, you know. If you don't come out of that, you're going to be consumed with the plagues. You're going to be consumed with this wicked ass place that we call Babylon. All right. Go, keep reading.
That ye be not partakers of her sins.
You can't celebrate Mardi Gras. You know, keep going.
And that ye receive not of her plagues.
And if you keep celebrating, you're going to receive these plagues that's coming to this place. So repent. And, you know what I mean? And turn away from it. Like my brother said, you got to come out of that mindset, them traditions, and everything else. So
flee from, this is a scripture that says, don't just come out of it, flee from it. Get me far from it.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Adwan.
This is the book of Sirach, chapter 42 and verse 8. And basically what we doing is exactly this, when we make these lessons to try to help our brothers and sisters that's trapped in this. But it says, be not ashamed to inform the unwise and foolish and the extreme age that contended with those that are young. Thus shalt thou be truly learned and approved of all men living. So when you come into this knowledge of this truth, you have to start living right, and you got to go out and you got to tell people. Going back to Sirach chapter 41, verse 4 says, and why art thou against the pleasure of the Most High? There is no inquisition in the grave, whether thou have lived 10 or 100 or 1,000 years. So you don't want to have the pleasure in the things that the Most High then got assigned you to have pleasure in. You want to go out and celebrate this other wicked.
Right. That has nothing to do with the Most High.
That has absolutely, as a matter of fact, it is a blasphemous act for the Most High. That's right. Jump down to verse 8 in Sirach 41. It says, woe be unto you, ungodly men, which have forsaken the law of the Most High God. For if ye increase, it shall be to your destruction. So that's going on to say that, you know, if you're going to continue in the ways of your wickedness, may the Lord deal with you ever so severely.
That's a fact. That's a fact. Yes, sir. Come, man. Those are powerful, excellent precepts. We probably don't have any questions. Everybody probably celebrating Mardi Gras right now. Probably celebrating Mardi Gras.
Precept, mister.
That's what we need to do. That's all right. We're going to get back to these streets and we're going to throw these precepts out.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Right?
Next, Lord willing, we still around next year. We'll get a shirt that says precept.
That's fire.
And we'll go down to the parade ourselves and hold camp.
That's a fire. We're going to hey, sign me up. Sign me up. I wear a medium.
We're bring the same lesson out.
I wear a medium. Brothers, got anything else? Any questions, precepts, concerns? No, you good. They ain't had that.
Okay. Only other thing that I was gonna mention, and I probably should have made it in passing, but one of the things that I learned about Mardi Gras is that a lot of our music comes from the influence of Mardi Gras. And so a lot of the stuff that we think we're grooving to is a result of the beats that they're drumming to, and those are somewhat what you call like the brother said, festival spirit, getting into the spirit of it again.
Yeah.
And so that's just something to be careful about for those who are watching this and have gone out to Mardi Gras. Pray that spirit off of you. May the Lord, you've been convicted by this. May you, repent and turn from your wickedness, so.
Come. Well said, Lord. Anything else you got, Gabar Malak?
No, I'm good. I appreciate y'all for bringing this out. I'm from California, but my family originated from Louisiana, so
yes, sir.
I never really experienced a Mardi Gras, but we.
All praise to the Most High for that.
But the thing is too, though, a lot of the cities and states too, they have somewhat like a Mardi Gras, but it's not really a Mardi Gras. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I think every city has some type of festivity that has to do with something like this. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, man. Most High willing, you all found this informative. Like I said, we could so much more we could have discussed. I'm really interested in doing a deeper dive on the Mardi Gras Indians myself. Israelites see stuff like that, their ears perk up real quick. Looking deeper into that. And talking more about syncretism, that's a topic that's an occurrence that have plagued us in every land that we've been in.
Right.
Being like the heathen, participating in heathenistic culture. Lord willing, next week we'll be back. The mighty Gabar Malak gonna bring out another thunderous lesson, I believe. You know what I'm saying? And continue to tap in.
God.
You bring out a song. One. You don't have another. Let's rise up faith to each really quick.
You see on Psalm 1, Lord?
Yeah, if you don't have nothing else. Psalm 1 don't ever get old. Ever.
This is the book of Psalms, chapter 1 and verse 1.
Mm-hmm.
Blessed is the man that walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly, nor standeth in the way of sinners, nor sitteth in the seat of the scornful. But his delight is in the law of the Lord, and in his law doeth he meditate day and night. And he shall be like a tree planted by the rivers of water, that bringeth forth his fruit in season. His leaf also shall not wither, and whatsoever he doeth shall prosper. The ungodly are not so, but are like the chaff which the wind driveth away. Therefore the ungodly shall not stand in the judgment, nor sinners in the congregation of the righteous. For the Lord knoweth the way of the righteous, but the way of the ungodly shall perish. SHAMI YASHARAHLA AHLAHAYANAWA YHWH ACHAAD. Amen.
Amen.